How come every time you get like bonus rewards for Vanguard and Crucible, but it's never for Gambit? Gambit is always like the thing that's left behind. Get bonus rewards in Crucible, bonus points in Crucible, bonus points in Vanguard stuff, and bonus rewards in Vanguard. Gambit's like, I just get bonus points. Like, it's already a nightmare to go through. If you just gave us like double loot, I would actually be more incentivized to actually maybe try. But no, they don't bother because it's not worth it apparently. Anyways, welcome back. It's Act 2, Week 2. Let's get to it. You know the drill, I know the drill. We're here to see what's going on with Saint. See if his existential crisis of being in a new reality is going to alleviate even a little bit, but something tells me it's going to be a big ol' no. We had a good weekend this weekend. Did a lot of grinding off screen for some newer stuff. Got a lot of the recordings done for Gears of War 4, if you're watching this now. Gears of War 4 is well on its way.
Captain. Ikora briefed me on the echo of command. And while we AIs are constantly given commands we cannot refuse, I understand your problem conceptually. I have completed processing the various Radiolaria samples you retrieved from Nessus. They contain no traces of abnormalities. Which is a huge disappointment. I was about to euthanize the samples when I realized we could mix nanomachines into the Radiolaria and reintroduce it to the planet. The nanomachines will get torn apart, but at least we can track them for a while. Maybe that'll help us figure out what's going on. Tell me when you are prepared, and I will have no choice but to assist you. Kidding. I'd help anyway.
While your support has allowed her to greatly expand her research capabilities, Failsafe studies on the Nessus Radiolaria are yielding few results, which is a huge disappointment. Ikora has briefed Failsafe on the Echo of Command, which the Vanguard believe the Conductor is somehow using to influence the Vex. So, she's not influencing them based off of the Radiolaria blood that's flowing in their veins. She's influencing them in the way where it's something else. It's nothing to do with, it's something else that's happening with their programming. Not via the Radiolaria. Maybe a signal that she's generating that's kind of forcing them to do her bidding. Maybe that could be it. What was the quest just now? Harvest radiolite to gather the materials to Failsafe requires. Oh, okay, so they want us to harvest radiolite. Easiest way to do that is to do a breach executable. And just to run one real quick and just let this play out the way that it normally plays out. I am kind of... How do you say? I'm kind of like... the story with this person, us doing all this investigation of it being a slow burn, we kind of have a name, but we don't have a face to a figure yet. We haven't even heard, like, this person or this thing speak to us at all. So it's kind of hard for me to, like, not get invested, but, like, I need a face. I need a cryptic, like, warning from this thing to, like, hey, you need to stop what you're doing and back off kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, something that lets me know they're a threat. Because so far they're only a threat because they've messed with Saint 14, but I don't feel threatened by whatever this Conductor thing is, other than it's messing with the Vex. But the Vex, outside of implementing new tactics that it says that they are doing, I haven't seen the Vex truly do anything that's out of the ordinary.
Failsafe.
Guardian
There we go.
secured. Data extraction complete. And everyone lived.
Yes. Though
And we're gonna
death
put on a
like
better
theirs
ghost
may
shell
not
so
be
we can
the
get something
only
good out
thing
of
we have to
this.
fear on Nessus. Failsafe. Narrow
There,
your
well.
decryption endeavors. Find any segments of
Dang it.
code referencing their attack on Saint. If the Conductor can compel him, any of us could be vulnerable. We must be cautious with our patrol deployments. I shudder to think what she would do with you, Guardian.
That is a terrifying thought. I'll store it with the others.
For some reason, I would like. So they just brought up an interesting point that maybe I've heard this before in the past and it never really clicked with me. But they brought up an interesting point, like why the Conductor could in theory, like project their will on anybody, and for some reason they chose Saint. But if they ever decide to choose us, we would be a greater threat, existential threat. Well, we would probably be just as big an existential threat. And it kind of makes me wish that, like, yeah, something like that were to happen, where we as the Guardian are being tricked into doing something. If we're doing something very sneaky on the side, and it gets part of the seasonal story because it forces us to do stuff for the season to progress. But like, we don't tell nobody, and like, we're kind of working against them. We're kind of being like manipulated into doing something really bad. I'm sure we've had seasons like that before, but I would really like something to like really twist us into doing something like we know as the player is super bad, like, hey, we probably shouldn't do this, but the Guardian player just does it regardless because it's just we're being compelled to do it. I think that would be really interesting if we can eventually be done in like that. I don't know if they'll ever do something like that, because yeah, why'd they pick Saint? Out of everybody they could have compelled in the entire Vanguard roster, they picked Saint for some reason. A Rising Chorus Act 2. Failsafe words and appreciation has used the Helm systems to process the raw materials you brought her. Fabricating nanomachines, her screen reads as a progress bar slowly fills. After a few moments, the text changes to calibrating nanomachines. And finally, the process finishes. Naming nanomachines appears on her readout above a frustratingly long progress bar. You tap your foot impatiently. Eventually, Failsafe's protocol dispenses a tube of synthesized Radiolaria teeming with microscopic nanomachines. Even on the helm, their tracking signals are strong and clear. Once you deploy them, you'll be able to follow their movements on Nessus with ease, at least until they're eventually like liquefied and destroyed. It'd be like the nanomachines. She's golden age technology, and she's synthesizing nanomachines for us. Is that just like? Isn't that just Siva? She just made us a batch of Siva, is what she's telling me. Here is your batch of Siva. Have fun. Is that not what it is? Am I misremembering what she just gave us? Because nanomachines, like when I hear nanomachines in this game, I immediately think Siva, and it makes me think she just gave me a tube filled with Siva nanites. But oh, Bungie's like, oh, we don't want you guys to think about Siva anymore. It's a dead plot point. But man, they keep making a lot of cool Eververse sets for Siva, and I'm like, hey, why can't we have Siva again? Come on, man. Let Fickrel bring it back one last time, you know? Just let him bring it back. He has like the this is the Echo of Command. I don't know what his Echo is wielding. If his Echo does anything very specific, or if it could be another Echo of Command, something to compel the will of those around him to do his bidding. That would be something, I guess. I would kind of like if his Echo was like Echo of immortality, something that like gives him true. He doesn't look like the same Fickrel we knew from before. It makes me think that like he's no longer like corrupted by dark ether, like he's corrupted by something else. Like he's replaced it with something else. Alright, let's see where this is taking us. She says we need to deploy this Siva, or not the Siva. Well, it's Siva. I'm just gonna call it Siva. She wants us to deploy the Siva in very specific places all across the planet, or across the patrol zone, I guess. I don't think those things provide us any new hidden secrets. Those little echoes of the Conductor. I think those are all just the same thing. I hope not, but we'll see. Chamber of Stone. Nanobots? Oh, we're just deploying them like right here.
All right, Captain. I've added nanomachines to the Radiolaria that will allow us to track its progress down through tests. Please reintroduce the samples to the planet at the designated sites.
This seems like a weird place to deploy them. I thought it would have made us deploy them like in a battleground or something. Cool. I mean, we've deployed them all, right? Where else are we going? Oh, did I not deploy all of them? I thought I just did. Did I miss one? Oh, this one didn't take for some reason. There we go.
Nanomachines away! I missed them already. The natural flow is being altered. Let me mark the next site for you.
Okay, there's another site of nanomachines she wants us to deploy at. Somewhere else, the flow of Radiolaria isn't following its normal path. It is taking an alternate path, and something is compelling it to go a different direction. I kind of want a glimpse as to what all of this Radiolaria is being funneled into, so we have an idea of the stakes so far. There's not much stakes in this season outside of us wanting to help Saint 14 come to terms with being who he is. And yeah, we want to stop the Vex being compelled by this, you know, Echo because, you know, we just have to. But I don't really understand. We still don't have much of an idea as to what they're being compelled for, or what the ultimate plan for the big bad is, and why we should, like, be worried about it. I'm kind of hoping... Oh, it's inside the Lost Sector. I'm kind of hoping that we get a clearer picture by the end of this act, at least, and why we should be working really hard to stop the Conductor, other than they're messing with the Vex, making them do things they don't necessarily want to do. The planet is shaking like if the planet is being terraformed by something. Oh. I can't deploy them if I'm being attacked by stuff. Let me get on with my job, please. Okay. So we now are able to track them, but they're in a location that is so far from where we are right now. The only logical conclusion is that it's closer to the core of the planet Gaszia. Okay, we've tracked them, we've tracked the flow, we kind of know where it's going. Time to go deal with this problem now. I'm thinking about what kind of guns I want. Like, again, I just want some more clarification. I want some clarity already at this point. We've had all this build-up, all this edging. I kind of want to... I want to release. Tell me, what am I doing? Why am I doing this now? Give me an understanding as to what kind of existential threat this person possesses, outside of influencing the Vex to do strange things and, you know, helping their combat efficiency against us. Okay. Not great. They're also messing with Saint 14 for some odd reason, trying to make him turn on his friends by, like, making him think that he doesn't belong in this timeline. I mean, that's a play. I'm not sure why this person would care, other than that they're trying to supposedly correct the timeline.
Captain, you're heading into the deepest parts of the planet. Those nanobots can only tell me so much. You'll need to get down there yourself if I'm going to get any useful data.
You are in unknown territory now, Guardian. Be ready.
It's hollow. There's so much empty space underneath the core of the planet. The Taken are here for some reason. That's interesting. I find it kind of odd that they're showing their face on this. Why would they care? Taking blights, okay. I like this giant cavernous space. It looks like we are miles above what looks like to be like the crust of the planet. We're getting sucked even further down. Why are they taken here, though?
What did the Taken want?
Yeah.
Why are they here?
Taken are drawn to paracausal forces, and those with immense strength of will. But they're leaderless now. No king, and no witness. And Zivu Arath either doesn't possess the power, or doesn't have the inclination. All we can speculate is that they're drawn to the Conductor.
They're drawn to immense power sources of paracausal energy. And with Oryx being dead, with the Witness being gone, And Zebulorap either not caring to command them or not having the ability to because she doesn't have the power to take. They are just off doing whatever mindless monsters do. How are more being made, though? That's the thing. Something is making more unless there's a finite amount of them. And eventually we're going to see the Taken just go away because there's just nobody... There's nobody left to make more of them. It is an interesting prospect to think that the Taken might eventually become extinct, because there's just nobody left to make more. They're just going to be a problem that'll eventually go away. I don't think there's any more Echoes of Oryx left out in the system randomly, right, either. This looks like a garden world. I recognize the architecture here. This looks like one of the strikes, like from Mercury. It very much looks like a garden, actually. I recognize this, like, layout of going down the staircase.
Those nanobots into the Radiolaria, I can track their movement through Nessus. I couldn't have done it without you. You know, since I'm all the way up on the planet's surface. It's fun looking at this place through your eyes, though. Exploring. Sightseeing. Even after all these centuries, there's a lot of this planet I haven't seen. Thanks, Captain.
The Vex Mind has raised a line of defense. Take it down.
It is a garden world. Look at that thing. It's the giant Cyclops. And let's see, Anti-Alphes, Hygiene, and Sentinel. The last one from the Mercury, like, was Panoptes. This is Anti-Alphes. Hypogenie and Sentinel. Oh, the whole room is rotating. We have to move.
I have initiated a security bypass. You're welcome.
Oh, we're shielded right here. Are we shielded? I don't think we're shielded. The whole room is rotating. I wonder if that's like a death zone on like Grandmaster. You have to constantly keep rotating and moving. That's pretty unique for a boss
Here
encounter.
the whole time? Failsafe did not know?
Failsafe sensors couldn't reach this far beneath the surface of the planet.
Now they can, assimilating data.
Wow. 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 This was here the whole time?
Maybe. Or it could be something new. Something the Conductor built when they grasped the Echo's power.
So, speaking of, those nanobots aren't responding to my signals. There's a pretty high chance the Conductor hijacked them.
Oh.
It ends here, Captain. Sorry.
It's all right, Failsafe. We can figure out another plan.
Return to the helm, Guardian. Failsafe and I will coordinate and find out our next steps.
Interesting. So it led us to here, and we're like, oh, this has been here this whole time. Like, I didn't realize all of this unexplored terrain was at the bottom of Nessus. And even they are like, just come back to us. Like, we'll explore where we can go from here. Maybe there's a path forward from here. This is not the planet's core. We're just really far beneath the planet's surface. I think the core of the planet is probably where the Conductor really is, the literal center of the planet, where all the Radiolaria is filtering to. I'm thinking she's trying. I'm wondering, can the Vex terraform and transform a planet into something like, a massive Vex mind or something like that, and like have it be like a Death Star almost, and like Nessus goes away because it's like now a hostile planet to be on. Failsafe displays lights up as she maps the new areas of Nessus as you chart while fighting through the Battleground Core. You study the readout together, following the glowing channels of subterranean Radiolaria as they flow ever downward. Suddenly, Failsafe highlights a section of Nessus' surface she has triangulated to the location of an unknown research specimen. Search the coordinates for the new research specimen. Doing all this research and gathering all these research specimens, but I don't exactly know what we're gathering them for. Just more research on what they're doing to the Radiolaria on the planet. Come on, I want at least a glimpse of the Conductor doing something. Let them give us a cryptic message telling us to turn back or go away. Like, hey, you don't want any of what's about to happen, so turn back, leave me to my work, or something that lets me know that they know that we are trying to discover what they're doing, and either they don't know, or they don't care, or they do know and they do care and they want us to stop because they're trying to do something that they don't want us to see. And it has something to do with Saint 14 being part of this timeline. They're trying to like correct the timeline by getting rid of him, or making him wanting to be under the dominion of the Conductor. And I guess they're like the greatest enemy of the Vex is Saint 14.
Captain, I am attempting to locate a particularly interesting research specimen. I will re-engage my detection protocol.
Where is the specimen? It's supposed to be right here, I swear! Right, Snake. Heard me do the beat loops and everything. Adjusting for the unlikely event of specimen locomotion.
Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop.
Oh, it's a frog.
Ha! Gotcha! Captain, the specimen appears to be biological in nature.
Which explains how it was able to evade my earlier detection. Clever little thing.
Is this... Are you trying to say that the Vex are becoming biological versus mechanical? And this is the first thing that is infused with Radiolaria, but it's a frog. Unless it's adapt to live on Nessus, but it's a frog. That's literally all it is. It's a frog. Is this like a test run for the Radiolaria doing something to the Vex where they become... like, they become sentient organisms? Like, They become biological organisms? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I collected a frog. Why is the frog important? The only thing I can think of is that if the frog is infused with Radiolaria. And supposedly she thinks it is because that's what initially got us to track it in the first place. So why is the frog important? You place a specimen onto Failsafe's research base. She thinks it will be happy in the helm away from roaming Vex and ponds full of Radiolaria. Joyfully, she tells you, we've rescued the specimen from dangers of Nessus and gave it a new home on this spaceship. In this way and many others, it's just like me. The specimen croaks. Failsafe addresses it directly. I do not know if that was a sign of agreement or not. We have much to learn about each other. Failsafe is concerned that the specimen looks hungry and has run an analysis on its dietary needs. Collect iridescent radiolite to find nutritional clusters within. Failsafe calls these clusters buffobites and believes they mirror the animal's natural food source. Research instrument fabricated. Piston hammer recharging. Using the piston of hammer will occasionally recharge itself instead of consuming the hammer charge. Oh.
Captain, I am analyzing the latest research sample you brought me, and it is a frog!
Yeah, it's a frog.
Technically, one of the Nessus proto-amphibians that developed adjacent to the Vex, but yeah, pretty much a frog. I love him! Of course, I don't really know him yet, but he seems likable. I can finally bring my nurturing subroutines online. He should have a name! In honor of my original commanding officer, Captain Jacobson, I will name the frog Captain Jacobson. Don't worry, it's an honorary title. The frog will have no real authority. Oh, this brightens my day, especially after Ikora's concerning response to my theory on how I could locate the conductor. She was aghast. It seemed to cause her emotional distress. She asked me not to mention it to anyone else, so I won't.
Wait, what?
Thanks again for the frog.
Ikora doesn't want us looking for it? Failsafe is delighted that the latest research specimen you have brought her is a small frog. In honor of Captain Jacobson, Failsafe's original commanding officer, she decides to name the frog Captain Jacobson. Okay, so we have Captain Jacobson and the Colonel, the chicken. Failsafe is so pleased about the frog that she divulges something that has been weighing heavily on her mind. She proposed a new theory on how to locate the conductor, but is troubled Ikora so deeply that she asked Failsafe to keep it to herself. What new method? Speak with Ikora in the tower. Do you mean like using Saint 14 as bait? Like having him, like we just have Saint 14 wander Nessus, and then we shadow him, and then if the Vex try to abduct him, we kind of follow along and see where they try to take him? Right? Like the Vex want him for something, or well, I don't even necessarily know if that's it. I don't know if the Vex want Saint 14 for something, or they just want him out of the way, because maybe the Conductor understands that Saint 14 is the greatest threat to the Vex. Like, he is like a well-known enemy of the Vex, right? So if she's going to command the Vex, and if the Vex are going to do her bidding, we need to get rid of Saint 14 so the Vex are, like, willing to follow the Conductor, ? I'm not sure. I really don't know where this is going. It makes me think that we'll follow your lead and we'll listen to you, but you have to kill Saint 14. Make him go away, and then we'll be ready to follow you. I guess. I don't know. It's an interesting story. I just don't know exactly where it's going so far. We're figuring it out though, very slowly. We're figuring it out.
Others may not have heard you approach. Well done, Hunter.
Why? I tried to talk to Ikora. Nothing happened. Oh, there we go.
Guardian, there's something I should discuss with you. Something I'm reluctant to suggest to Saint and Osiris. I think you'll see why. Failsafe believes she could open a portal straight to the Conductor. She says she could extrapolate the coordinates by combining the new Vex data you've been collecting with her years of observations of the Nessus Vex. But she would need to compare it against control data gathered from Vex isolated from the Nessus network.
Okay.
She'd need an enormous amount of data, centuries of it, captured with perfect clarity, and preserved by the Vex themselves. Our options are limited and dangerous. There is only one accessible database with that kind of fidelity. The mind of Saint 14. The deceased Saint 14. Who is still laid to rest in the
Oh,
infinite
okay.
forest. Our future may depend on Saint. Again.
So, the original Saint 14's mind inside the Infinite Forest has a giant treasure trove of collected data of... I'm trying to see. So, thanks to the amount of data you've claimed from the Vex, finding the Conductor's coordinate is technically possible, but would require a vast amount of control data gathered from the Vex isolated from the Nessus network. This data would have to be collected over centuries, recorded with perfect clarity, and preserved in the Vex network itself. The mind of Saint 14 who died in the Infinite Forest, whose body is still held deep in the Vex simulation. Claiming this data would involve incredible risk both to yourself and the despondent Saint. Let's go for it. I'd love to travel to the Infinite Forest. Failsafe is processing the data you have gathered in an attempt to locate the mysterious Conductor. Aw, oh, come on! It is a viable path forward, I guess. So, but I don't understand why we need the original Saint 14's data, because we're trying to compare and contrast.
Hunt well. We must
see what's so different about the Nessus Vex versus, like, the Vex that are from a completely different section of the universe, and that part of that is the Saint from the Infinite Forest. But as far as why we need that data and how we're getting to that conclusion, I'm kind of confused. Even I don't really understand. I mean, it'd be cool to go back and get the mind or the skull of Saint 14, but I'm kind of trying to figure out, like, why is the data necessary? We're using it to help us narrow down where the Conductor might be, and the only way to do that is to compare and contrast data collected over centuries. I guess if you compare and contrast that data from one another, it would reveal like a code of some sort, a code hidden within the Nessus Vex network, and then I guess that code or that discrepancy between the two data sets is a way to help us narrow down the Conductor's location, ? I mean, I'm trying to look at it from like a scientific perspective, but I mean, other than it just sounding cool, I don't know why we need the original Saint 14's memories. It'd be cool to go back to the Infinite Forest. We're going to have to open a portal to Mercury or somewhere. I'm not sure, actually. Or interact.
Guardian, since you found me, I have only doubted who I was once. When Mithrax recounted all his people, their children, feared me. It shook me. Osiris says that I am Saint 14. My hands raised the wall. I walked with the Pilgrim Guard. How can I be a shadow of the saint who truly walked this city? When I remember the smells of the streets and the faces that smile. I met you on Mercury as I speak to you now. We fought together. I shattered the Vex for centuries. But I lived where he died. Because we showed the Vex that our fate could not be calculated. Even in simulation, we surprised them, you and I. That is true. The Conductor claims I am a man out of time, an approximation of reality. Was I not this already? Hard metal and brittle memory, spark and code 14 times over. Only my heart's carried through. I know what it means to find myself again. But the Conductor claims had
understand where he's coming from. He's coming to grips with everything that's going on with him right now, where he says that I've only ever doubted myself once, and that was, or I've only ever doubted who I was once, and that was when Mithrax told me about how he and his people see me as like the boogeyman of their people from legend. And that really shook me to my core, because I never thought of myself as a boogeyman. I thought of myself as a righteous hero fighting against the fallen. And then, you know, that changed me, and then now this revelation from the Conductor has changed me once again. So the sundial, was it? I thought it was a time machine, and now they're making it sound like the sundial, like the Infinite Forest was a prediction engine, right? It allowed us to see the Vex work on infinite permutations of time, and it allowed them to see what possible futures could be in store for everything and everyone. And the sundial might have been a way for us to peer into the Infinite Forest's infinite, like, prediction engine and find a version of Saint 14 who was younger and was still alive. I don't know. It's too much timey-wimey stuff for me to wrap my head around. But because even Saint 14 is coming down to it, like, they keep calling me a simulation. They don't think I am real. They think I am a simulation of the real Saint 14, and now Saint is clapping back with Saint 14 was always a simulation, because the 14 in my name implies that I have been rebooted and recoded 14 times. Like, I've always been a simulation of a simulation, because the previous 13 iterations of me were all copies of copies of copies of copies. Why would me being a simulation of Saint 14 be any different than actually being the real Saint 14? So he's rationalizing it like that. But he's also coming to grips with what's really bothering him, where if Osiris never resurrected me, he would still have Segura. He would still have his light. And like, that's something that he's coming to grips with too. And he's like, Osiris has lost so much. The last thing I want him to lose now is his love for me. So I have to stay by him and stay strong for him. And I can't, and like, while I'm still coming to terms with it, and while this is going to be a lot for me to take in, like, I will find myself again in time. So it's poignant that he's coming to grips with it. He's not letting this get to him as much as he can. He's trying to put this past him. He's trying to, you know, be who he has to be for Osiris' sake, if nothing else. I mean, that's the weekly story. I mean, they want us to go back into the Infinite Forest to reclaim the memories of the original Saint 14, because he has a perfect clarity and recollection of how the Vex operate and how they've done so for centuries inside the Infinite Forest, which is a section of the Vex network completely isolated from the one that's on Nessus. And it's our only accessible point into the Vex network in order for us to compare that data. But why not turn to Mithrax? Can't he splice us a way into the Vex network? Why does it have to be the Infinite Forest, and why not Mithrax? Because isn't there like a Vex gate on Europa? Isn't that right? One of the strikes is a giant Vex gate. Can't Mithrax splice us into the Vex network to collect the data? But I guess we don't have the time. We need to collect centuries worth of data extremely quickly, and we need it to be well preserved, and it needs to be outside of the influence of the Vex on Nessus. And I guess technically that would be, you know, Saint 14's memories. I would think that it would also be maybe some of Osiris's reflections inside the Infinite Forest, because they've also been exploring the forest for countless centuries too. Maybe they could also be part of what we need to find, like Osiris's old reflections when he still had the light. That's something as well. I don't know. We'll see. I guess I'm hoping next week we'll actually get to go into the Infinite Forest. We'll get to see that dead Saint 14, and we will maybe get a snapshot of who the Conductor is, what her plan is, and why we really need to stop her. Other than all this research we're doing, we're basically just doing a lot of research into who and what the Vex are doing now, and we're kind of just trying to, you know, come up with a scientific way of understanding how they're operating now. And I guess that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I still don't know why. I get it that it's a personal story. Not every season needs to be, we need to stop this person, otherwise the universe is going to end. I get that not every season needs a story like that, but I mean, I just don't know what the Conductor is doing, and I don't know why we should be worried. It doesn't need to be a giant galaxy-ending threat, but maybe the Conductor is doing something that would shift our fundamental ways of thinking about the Vex, or maybe they're coming. Maybe it doesn't have to be like a universe-ending threat. Maybe it's they come up with some sort of threat, or they come up with some sort of solution to a problem we've always had, and how her proposed solution or her proposed project is something that we just don't agree with. It's kind of like an abomination. It's something that no Guardian or nobody in humanity can get behind. Maybe a synthetic life, something beyond death and something beyond time that kind of ties into Saint 14 being a man out of time or whatever. I don't know. It's hard to wrap my head around as far as where we're going next year. I'm genuinely left wondering what could possibly be next, because even I don't understand what's going to happen in the future. That kind of leaves me excited, but I'm also kind of like, I hope there's a good payoff at least. It lets me know that all this waiting and all this teasing was not for nothing. Anyways, guys, that's going to be the end of the episode for Week 2, Act 2. There is that research quest, but it doesn't really provide a whole lot of extra story. It's mostly just like something with the seasonal activities to help you farm the seasonal activities a little bit better. So, I mean, it's not really worth covering for the seasonal story. We're here for the story, less for the gameplay. We'll include gameplay every now and then, but we're here mostly for the new stuff, the new story, the new activities that are introduced when the story goes live, those kind of things. So I don't think we're going to end up showing that off. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video up until this point, you can leave a like down below. If I'm rambling and if I sound confused, it's because I'm kind of am. I don't really understand the motivations behind the Conductor quite yet. I'm hoping we get more insights on that next week. Be sure to subscribe if you want to hedge your bets on being able to see the Conductor and getting an idea of what their grand plan is. Maybe they'll leave us speechless and leave us on a really good cliffhanger that when Act 3 comes around, we'll really be wanting to jump back and be like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that. Now we got to jump back in and like really work on stopping the Conductor for one reason or the other. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys all in the next one.